Okay, so now we're in a baby Ferrari and it makes Yugo noises. Welcome back to Garage Money Pit and yet another episode of Oh great, what's he bought now? Well, welcome to my latest folly. When was the last time you've seen a rather nice X19? Not to mention, why did I buy an X19 in the first place? Well, that's an easy answer. I've owned two in the past. I really like them. They are not particularly fast, but they certainly feel faster than they are. Right, so what do we have here? So this is one of the last models. I think they were sold in the US until 1988. They're disco era cars. They're 1970s sports cars, even though they were, like so many 1970s cars, carried over into the 80s if they should or shouldn't. Pretty nice condition. When I bought it, it had less than 39,000 miles on it. It's got a little bit over 40 now, so I did put quite a fair number of miles on it fairly quickly. Very enjoyable to drive. Obviously Targa roof, we've got the roof on there right now. Almost 100% original. The wheels are not, but I like them much better than the Tron wheels that would normally be on this car. So come here and we'll have a look around. Okay, so this is the original color. This was a black car and it has been repainted once. And yes, I know, old Italian car, it's been repainted. Well, it's overall in pretty good condition. You know, the typical areas that you see go on these, and yes, I know it's fairly dark, in pretty good shape. From the how original is this car department, this is the original California emission sticker. This is not a replica, this is the one that the car came with. So I don't know exactly when the respray took place. My understanding is it was a little while ago. I should probably ask the previous owner. This car was actually owned by a moderator on XeWeb, or the XWeb forums, as you can see from the sticker in the back. And he liked it so much he owned it twice. It's pretty much all original, as I mentioned, with the one exception of the wheels. We'll see if we can get some decent shots of the interior. So overall, yeah, pretty good shape. All the bits that you can't find seem to be present, which is important. Not much going on here, but we'll have a look anyway. But before we do that, completely stock interior, well, almost completely stock, very 1980s and in very good shape. As I mentioned, low mileage, and I've put probably about 2,000 of those miles on there by now. Big frunk. So here you can see original color. It's got some electrical mods to help with the electrons getting where they need to be. The other end, this is, by the way, where you unlock them. That's the trunk. This one's the engine bay. Very clean engine bay. Some minor modifications, so it does have, as you can see, a metal expansion tank rather than the plastic one. The first few years actually had this metal tank. They went to a plastic tank. The plastic tank is not that durable, so it's a common modification. Other than that, it's all depressingly stock in there. Even though this car is way too nice to modify, we'll see how long I'll manage to not modify it. Oh, and somebody's moved in here. Great. So that's an interesting question. How did Mouse get in here? But we forget that we saw that. Okay, now a mostly mouse nest free trunk. I don't know if you can see that, but it's overall in very nice don't know if you can see that, but it's overall in very nice shape. Oops, it's further than I wanted to go. Yikes. Okay, party trick o'clock. Let's make the roof vanish. And this is definitely one of those cars that can use more power and can definitely handle more power. You may have to upgrade the brakes a little, which, by the way, are similar to the Lotus. This car has non-servo assisted brakes. It doesn't need servo assisted brakes. So this is a gearbox, so you definitely don't want to force into gear, because all you get out of that is horrible noises out of the gearbox. So if you're stuck at a traffic light or stop sign or whatever, wherever else you had to stop, and you can't get into first gear, the trick is to put it into second gear first. That usually fixes the issues on these. It's just one of the quirks of this gearbox. Okay, so now we're in a baby Ferrari and it makes Yugo noises. So one other interesting thing about this car is that it's about the same size as a first generation Miata. It has less power. It probably handles about as well, but it's more practical. We actually got 2 people's bags for a week-long trip into this car with no problem. We actually had some space to spare. We wouldn't have even been able to get the bags into a Miata because I was, as I do, considering getting another Miata instead, when I found this car, and it was like, yeah, no contest. This is always a fun crossing, especially if we have a lot of water, which we don't at the moment. I love those low bridges. And in the next episode on the X19, I'll be adding this head unit that looks period appropriate but can still handle modern technology. And while we're in there, I'm probably also going to change the speakers in the back because they seem to be fairly original and, you know, a little bit on the old side. Newer speakers tend to sound a bit better. So see you then, and hope you enjoyed this episode.